Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel where skincare is all about progression over perfection because perfection doesn't exist. I feel a little bit rusty today because it's my first day back filming after the Christmas holidays. And I feel like, first day of school kind of thing. But welcome back to another When Beauty Turns Ugly. I'm going to be doing my skincare, I'll do my hair after this, but I'm getting ready for the day to go absolutely nowhere. So we all know the importance of sunscreen. We all know it. A lot of people are obsessed with it, but a lot of people, most importantly, know the very basics of you should be applying sunscreen if you're going to go out in the sun. It's there to protect our skin against burns, against skin cancer, signs of aging, darkening of already dark spots on our face. It's a good product to use, despite the Clean Beauty Brigade coming for it, saying that it's too toxic and it sinks into your bloodstream and all that kind of stuff. But today I want to talk about sunscreen that actually didn't do its job at all, according to the lawsuit, with users of this sunscreen actually saying they may as well use baby oil because that is how bad it cooked their skin. The sunscreen in question is the Honest Company's sunscreen lotion. Numerous people took the Honest Company to court because their sunscreen lotion, according, allegedly, to the lawsuit, the sunscreen lotion didn't protect them the way it should have done. So today we're going to be looking at just how honest are the Honest Company, the Honest Company claims, and how safe is clean beauty, and why the Honest Company actually has so many lawsuits filed against them in the first place. It's verging on ridiculous, actually. So I'm going to rehydrate my skin. I've cleansed my skin. I'm going to do a mist and then a really hydrating serum. So let's talk about the Honest Company to begin with. So before the big celebrity skincare boom of 2022, there were a handful of already successful celebrity skincare brands, one of them being Jessica Alba's The Honest Company. This is one of those celebrity skincare brands that a lot of people are surprised to know there's a celebrity even behind the brand. Jessica Alba, love her. Dark Angel was one of the best TV series of all time. Well, that's going a bit too far, but it's a really good TV series that I really enjoyed. A great actress, and according to the success of The Honest Company, a very, very successful business owner. The Honest Company was founded in 2011 after the birth of her first child, and really is one of the original clean beauty, clean lifestyle, non-toxic, chemical-free brands out there. In her own words, Jessica Alba said that she was scared of chemicals and toxins that were in everyday household items, everything from her beauty products to her baby products. So she wanted to create her own range of safe, I'm going to be doing this a lot when it comes to clean beauty, safe household baby cosmetic products. And she did a really good job, to be fair. And whether you buy into the whole clean beauty thing or not, I personally don't, but there's no denying that The Honest Company is a very successful business. It's done so well, with a real dedicated following, and in fact, the business was valued at over $1 billion as of 2022. But just how they reached that 1 billion mark is a little bit controversial, some even claiming that they used the pandemic to their full advantage. So how did they become so popular? Because 1 billion is a lot. I believe they might be worth even more now. In my personal opinion, Hollywood actors and the clean beauty lifestyle kind of goes hand in hand. The clean living green, organic is very LA to me. The no nasties, no chemicals, no toxins approach to beauty and lifestyle is almost like a trend that comes and goes along with hot yoga and smoothie diets, According to a recent clean beauty market share, size and trends analysis report, as of 2021, the clean beauty market and industry is valued at over $6.4 billion. A lot. People are obviously really interested in the clean beauty movement and is expected to reach over 15 billion as of 2028. That's crazy to me, but it's an overall reflection of how consumers want to know exactly what is in their cosmetics, in their household products, and that's kind of merged with a misunderstanding of real science and toxicology. And brands use this to their advantage to almost fearmonger people into believing that everyday average affordable products are dangerous, toxic, and dirty in some way, with most clean brands, including The Honest Company, labeling their products as natural, safe, non-toxic, free from chemicals, and green, all phrases that mean absolutely nothing and are unregulated terms. With more recent news and lawsuits suggesting that people presume clean beauty means their products are 100% natural because they feel that this is what is safe for human usage, you know? And I feel like, you know, the general public aren't to blame for this because this is what brands do when they make their all-natural, organic kind of products, clean products. They lead the consumer to believe that their products are 100% natural without even saying it. They kind of hint and suggest, you know? As I said, I don't like the clean beauty movement. I find it very anti-science. I believe brands should educate with science rather than try and just take the easy route and kind of sell their products through fear-mongering tactics. It's funny because being online, you see a lot of the clean beauty cult kind of coming for bigger conglomerates like L'Oreal, for example, saying that they're trying to kill us, give us cancer by using chemicals and toxins, blah, blah, blah. In their products, they don't care about you, they just care about money. If they really, really wanted to cash in and make some money, they would go the clean beauty route because it's worth so much money and so easy to sell and hold on to those returning clients because now they're scared to use anything else. There's more pseudoscience and more kind of like what I would consider dangerous products when it comes to preservative-free products, blah, 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 in clean beauty that I would be worried about Big Pharma. Big Pharma. With that being said, I think it's great that there's a company like The Honest Company with such an array of products, household, cosmetic, blah, 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 that caters to people with allergies, who are very sensitive to allergies. With that being said, it's very important to also note that allergen-free and clean are two very completely different things. And just because something's clean, it doesn't mean it's free of potential irritating ingredients and allergens. They do on their website, looking at now, have their no list, which is a list of over 2,500 ingredients that they will not put in their products. And we're talking about the usual talc, parabens, no chemical sunscreen, and Japanese honeysuckle for some reason. But other than physically having to really hunt down that list on their website, there's no bombarding of their clean beauty ethos on their website. There's no shoving it in your face. It's all very, you know, kind of like, oh, and by the way, we're clean kind of thing. And the products that I've used up to now have actually been really, really nice. I'm actually going to try some today. I was actually sent this, a moisturizer and vitamin C serum, so I'm going to try these today. They seem to merge science with nature and create some really nice products. Now, I wanted to have this long-winded chat about clean beauty before we got into the lawsuit because, as I mentioned, there's this idea that clean equals safe, clean equals hypoallergenic even, that you're not going to get any kind of irritation whatsoever from their products, when that is just not the case. And with The Honest Company making every effort to advertise their products as such, people are still going to have reactions to pretty much anything. So let's get into the lawsuit today. I'm just going to rehydrate my skin with the Pancannual Deep Infusion Toner, Black Tea Deep Infusion Toner. It's okay, it's nice. So August the 1st, 2015, English national treasure Cilla Black passed away, and Little Mix were #1 with Black Magic. Oh, that's going to annoy me. In the UK charts. It was also the day that a lady by the name of A. Hughes was relaxing out in the sun with a family of 5 using The Honest Company's Honest Sunscreen Lotion. Here it is. With what they thought was 20% non-nano zinc oxide protection. However, according to her Amazon review, which she posted the very next day, this sunscreen did not protect their skin at all, and they were left with what looks like very painful and uncomfortable burns. According to her Amazon review, stated that you may as well slather yourself in baby oil because that's how well it works. Slather? Have I forgotten how to say that? 1 month previously, July 30th, 2015, Little Mix were #1 in the charts with Black Magic. Not a lot happened that month. But that was also the day that Jamie Chapman posted her Amazon review of the Honest Sunscreen Lotion, posting a picture along with her review of her 2-year-old looking pretty badly sunburnt again, despite her claim that she was reapplying the sunscreen constantly. This was followed by even more negative reviews about the very same situation, as well as people tweeting them about how bad they'd been burnt when using their sunscreen. None of these people were actually involved in the lawsuit. It was actually Shane Michael, Dreamer Hembry, and Ethel Lung who are the plaintiffs in this lawsuit, acting on behalf, of course, themselves and everybody who had pretty much ever bought this sunscreen lotion. Back in 2016, and they weren't suing them for any kind of physical damage, they were actually just suing them for false advertising. And the fact that the product just didn't work at all, but they all actually claimed that they also bought this product with the belief that it was 100% natural and safe for their families. The suit was asking for a minimum of $5 million for those who were affected. So let's take a closer look at this product and what could have gone wrong, supposedly, allegedly. The lawyers involved in this lawsuit on behalf of the plaintiffs are kind of suggesting that there's some sneaky funky behind the scenes reformulation and manufacturing going on. They jump right into it, basically stating that the product had been reformulated without any kind of official announcement. As I mentioned earlier, the sunscreen initially had 20% zinc oxide in it. Non-nano zinc oxide. However, according to the lawsuit, they secretly reformulated back in March of that year, and the sunscreen now only contained 9% zinc oxide. 9.3%. Now, the lawyers are kind of suggesting that this is the main reason the sunscreen doesn't work. They're saying that this is, you know, a less than half of what was initially in the original sunscreen, and this is the main reason consumers were experiencing burning, despite claims from the Honest Company saying that their broad spectrum SPF 30 sunscreen lotion was perfectly effective and safe. However, the plaintiffs claim that the 9% isn't enough isn't necessarily true. Or 100% accurate, and there can be other things at play here. It really comes down to the product formulation overall rather than just the sheer percentage of the zinc oxide in a product. So saying 9.3% zinc oxide isn't an accurate statement, but that's what they're going with. Okay, let's try. This was gifted to me, so I'll probably be off their PR list now. But let's have a look. Cute silk headscarf. And we have Vitamin C Radiance Serum. Oh, it's in like a tube. Now I'm just going to use a little bit of this on my forehead and nose, because I'm having a bit of a flare up today rosacea-wise, so I don't want to cause any more irritation or issues. Oh, surprisingly like liquidy. Doesn't smell like anything, which is usually one of my gripes with vitamin C. Doesn't smell, doesn't feel greasy or oily or stingy in any way. Let's go a little bit onto the cheeks. All right, that's fine, that's fine. So what did the brand have to say about all this? Because at the moment, you know, a sunscreen not working and not protecting you from the sun. In America, sunscreens are considered drugs as well. It's a pretty bold statement. It's a pretty big accusation. So what did the brand have to say about this? Well, apparently they didn't mean to, you know, kind of like blindside people and secretly reformulate, but the reformulation was actually down to listening to customer complaints that the original sunscreen was too chalky, too hard to apply. So they reformulated to make the product feel nicer. They say our previous sunscreen formulation had a 40-minute water resistance, and customers told us that it didn't apply as easily as they would have liked. Based on our own experience and customer feedback, we redesigned our sunscreen lotion for 80-minute water resistance and an improved formulation that allows for easier application and a lighter weight feel. They then released an official statement, which is a little bit like blaming the customers for what happened, and I kind of get it. We'll talk about it in a minute. They say the Honest Company is committed to providing safe and effective products, and we take all consumer feedback very seriously. Our sunscreen lotion was tested by an independent third party against the protocols prescribed by the US Food and Drug Administration, FDA, monograph for over-the-counter sunscreen products. The results showed that our product is effective and safe for use as an 80-minute water-resistant FDA's highest rating SPF 30 sunscreen lotion in accordance with FDA regulations when used as directed. Shake well, apply liberally and evenly 15 minutes before sun exposure. Reapply after 80 minutes of swimming or sweating, immediately after towel drying, and at least every 2 hours. The number of complaints received on our website constitute less than 1/2% of all units actually sold at honest.com. So they're basically saying here this is a real rare occurrence, and it's probably because everyone used it wrong. And listen, I kind of get that. We do have to take into consideration user error, right? We know the rules of sunscreen application and sunscreen reapplication, but a lot of people do think you go on the beach, by the pool in the sun, apply your sunscreen, and you're done for the day. You know, you have to reapply every couple of hours if you're in the water. Even with water-resistant sunscreen, I would reapply out of the water because then you're going to towel yourself off. You don't have that even spread of the sunscreen. It sounds like the sunscreen was formulated to be less chalky, which zinc sunscreens usually are. They leave often a really horrible white cast. But what that means to me is that people probably aren't getting all the surface area? Are they even applying enough? We know you need to apply a good amount of sunscreen to get full coverage. People often apply sunscreen like a light lotion rather than the barrier building product that it is. Again, not blaming the victims here, but with a lot of these lawsuits, user error is like one of the main issues. Whether that's because the user didn't read the instructions or there's a lack of any. So what do the experts say? So former Forbes writer David Kroll actually interviewed Billy J. Gurley, PhD professor and pharmaceutical sciences at the University of Arkansas Medical Center's College of Pharmacy, on his opinion, really kind of focusing in on the plaintiff's claim that 9.3% zinc oxide isn't enough. Could this have been the issue? Gurley said that, yeah, that the reasoning behind the causation of the sunburn is quite plausible, but he does say without knowing all the ingredients in the formulation, for example, suspending agents, thickening agents, etc., and details about the mixing process, type of mixer, shear rate, etc., it's a bit difficult to say definitely what might have caused the burns. He does say there's a reason why they call it zinc oxide paste. If zinc oxide is not in sufficient concentration to physically block the UVA and UVB rays, you will get burnt. So potentially, but as Gurley states, it's hard to tell. The lower percentage of zinc oxide is one potential factor. So I'm going to use an eye cream. This is the Dew Skin Oracle Reviving Eye Gel. Again, love it. It works great with their reusable eye masks. My skin is a little bit stingy after that vitamin C now, actually. But I love gel eye creams because I don't want to be spending ages patting in product into my eyes. So who won this lawsuit? Well, overall, it looks like the honest company's safe claims, clean claims, and natural claims of their products came to bite them back in the foot, shot them in the foot, bite them in the arse, because that's their biggest downfall. And without any solid or legal meaning, the word clean and natural mean nothing, other than what the consumer thinks it is or what the brand has led the consumer to believe it is. It's funny because in this lawsuit as well, the plaintiff's lawyers try using the EWG as evidence of harmful and toxic and dangerous ingredients when we all know that EWG is one of the worst companies out there for scientific accuracy when it comes to ingredients. They're notorious for their clean bullshit, and they fearmonger in order to promote brands that pay for an EWG verified stamp, using one brand's clean bullshit against another in this lawsuit. This case was settled in June of 2017, but what I didn't tell you was that this lawsuit wasn't just for the sunscreen. The three plaintiffs weren't the only plaintiffs involved in this huge lawsuit. And by huge, I mean pages and pages. This settlement and this lawsuit actually covered a fair few of their products, including, but not limited to, false claims of natural dish soap, home cleaning products, and other plaintiffs who bought the Honest Company products thinking that they were all natural. The Honest Company actually created a settlement fund of $7 million to be shared equally amongst the plaintiffs and anybody who basically bought from a particular list of the Honest Company products between January 2012 and July 2017, each being able to receive $2.50 per product that they purchased with proof of purchase, with people receiving checks for as much as over $200. However, the Honest Company do not have to admit any fault in this settlement, so they didn't really lose, and the plaintiffs didn't really win. It's kind of like, oh, you're all getting a refund kind of thing. However, the Honest Company did agree to change their labeling and promotional materials. They say the company will no longer label the products at issue as being natural or 100% natural. It will no longer use the phrase no harsh chemicals ever on products that contain significant amounts of methyl lysophazolone or cocamide propylene oxide. For products that are labelled natural, naturally derived, plant-based or plant-derived, the Honest Company will define those terms on its website in language based on applicable regulatory or statutory requirements. So they're still going to label some of their products as 100% natural or natural, as long as it doesn't contain those particular ingredients, which we see to this day they're still doing, and they're still being sued for it. With the latest claim being from 2022, someone filed a lawsuit against them saying that they use false advertising to sell some wipes, because again, the consumer presumed they were 100% natural and clean. Let's move on to something really quick. Now, I mentioned that the Honest Company were accused of using the COVID pandemic to their advantage, with supposedly, allegedly, for legal reasons, little dishonesty on their behalf. Enter a new lawsuit. I'm going to keep it brief because this is about investors and stocks and money and stuff I don't understand. But this is a lawsuit over alleged COVID-19 fraud. And they're being sued for allegedly misleading shareholders about their 2020 sales. Now, according to the lawsuit, shareholders decided to buy stock in the company in 2021 after reports from 2022 showing that sales were massively up. You know, this had gotten to the 1 billion mark. But shareholders are now complaining that the Honest Company failed to disclose that their stocks went up and everything went up. Sales were up because people were stockpiling the Honest Company products during the lockdown and pandemic. The lawsuit states that in July, 2 months after the Honest Company went public with their sales, they released a new report once all the shareholders had bought into the company, stating that the Honest Company had lost more than 20 million and that their stock prices crashed almost 43% from the original public offering. So the shareholders' main gripe is that the Honest Company hid the fact, according to the lawsuit, that the reason they gained so much money is because people were hoarding products, buying products like cleansing supplies, hand sanitizers, diapers, wipes, and other wellness products, antibacterial products. The lawsuit is claiming that when the company went public in May 2021, the shareholders claimed that they believe the Honest Company knew that sales were falling drastically and decided not to inform possible shareholders, allegedly basically tricking shareholders into buying stock. Right, let's try their moisturizer. Everyday Radiant C Moisturizer. That's all it says. I'm guessing it's a vitamin C moisturizer. Looks a little thick. Oh god, I should have got my hair things. Oh. Oh, this is one of those moisturizers that kind of gives you a cold sweat on your face. Do you know what I mean? Rubs in very nice. It smells a bit funny, but nothing bad. Oh, it leaves a nice silky feeling on the skin. Not too shiny, not too dewy. It leaves my skin feeling a little bit silky, which I don't really like a fake silkiness to it, which I'm not a fan of, I must admit, but not a bad moisturizer at all. Might be a little bit much for my oily T-zone, but it's fairly fine. The Honest Company have been through some turbulent times, I must say, with what appears to be a lawsuit in nearly every year of them being around. It's not that bad. All based around false advertising relating to natural and clean ingredient claims. Who would have thought? I think this year coming up, we're going to be seeing more of these kind of lawsuits against companies who kind of like base their whole ethos and branding around being a clean company, using the term clean to advertise their products, etc. It's not enough, in my opinion, to make an unregulated term like clean, natural, green, such a huge part of your brand, and just be like, this is what clean means to us. Because everyone's opinion of what clean is varies so much, and of course it's going to when it has no legal definition and it means something different to every other brand. You know, there's no consistency between brands. These brands who use clean as a selling tactic, these brands who use like the possibility of dirty, harmful ingredients in our skincare and cosmetics may find themselves in a bit of bother this year, I fear. You have to think, was it really worth the clean claims? I don't think so. All in all, I feel like just because there's a lawsuit, it doesn't mean that the company's done anything wrong. These lawsuits are thrown out all the time. Every company's getting sued all the time. And all these were simply because of these unregulated terms, and people felt like they were missold stuff, which is, in all honesty, fair enough. I think if you sell a product and you've used these confusing selling tactics, and yeah, give them a refund if it's not what they thought it was, because you've confused the customer. That's it. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. You can watch the full When Beauty Turns Ugly playlist here, some general light entertainment here, and I'll see you over there.